Good afternoon, cannabis fans. Welcome to the show. I'm Marijuana Man. This is From Under the Influence here in not so sunny Vancouver. It's Wednesday, so we do a show. It's a gloomy, cold, and rainy day. And by cold, I mean like 6 degrees or something like that. That's cold for us. But just sitting here on the Zoom, smoking weed, talking about weed, thinking about weed. Hope you all are too. Well, except you're not on Zoom, but we should do that one day. Get everybody. Zoom can be a lot. We did our 420 broadcast on Zoom this year. Been threatened a few times to take it down by Health Canada. $5 million fine. Good luck fucking collecting that ever. But that was in the earliest days of Zoom, and we put that puppy to task, let me tell you, to try and pull that off. It was an interesting technological affair. And we ended up not having a great deal of time for the production value of the show, so it was pretty much off the hip and dealing with lots of things popping up. Interesting, not as fun as the usual 420. Whether or not we'll ever get to do that again, I don't know. I'm sure we will, but not a chance it would be anything like it was on the last one. That was a big time show. And I'm always been thrilled to be anywhere near it, let alone part of it. It's way fun to take on the task of coordinating and doing all the stage stuff. Wow. It always was certainly the busiest day of my year. And the months leading up to it, coordinating it all and getting the schedule all figured out. And I used to think, ah, got the schedule now, I'm done. But then I'd show up at the day and find out just how much more I had to do. Well, there we've got some of the chat from That's kind of nice. James Bond is in the house, number 7. Nice. Good. Welcome to Missouri and Dallas, Texas, then. Yeah, it's always astounded me a little bit. Oh, here, let me show you what I'm smoking. Well, I am smoking it. That is Congo. And exceptional. A true sativa, this thing. Came out of the Congo years ago from locals there that claimed that cannabis was there before they arrived. This very cannabis. So I don't know. If that's true, that's some fucking very old cannabis. Uh-huh. Congo, big surprise. Yes, it was gifted to me at Christmas time, and I'm very thankful for that. Coming from my dear friend and the best grower I know. But I do like the sativas. You can tell right away the difference for me. I don't know. They say indica puts you in the couch. I'm not so sure about that. A lot of cannabis puts you in the couch, but for me, still, if there's stuff to do, there's stuff to do, and you go and do it, and indica doesn't matter. I don't know. There's very few strains out there anymore that come looking like that. This is not a very saleable look to this cannabis. It's too airy and leafy looking. But it sure smokes different. Now, you see articles all the time claiming that there is no difference between indica and sativa at the trichome level. This is kind of what they do. So, yeah, it's all cannabis. It's just, I'm not too sure what they actually test in these things, whether they test everything that is inside that, or I don't know how they come to this conclusion, but yeah, it's cannabis. But it smokes different. I have my own theories as to why that is. Really, it has to do more, I think, with the sun beating down on these trichomes for a longer time and more evidently because they're not being covered up by other calyxes. That's why you get thick hard buds, is because the calyx grows over top of the other calyx and makes and forms a tight hard bud. Now, prohibition has caused us to prefer that because somebody's asking a question about red Congo. Yeah, that's been crossed with something else, not real Congo. It's got the flavor, but it ain't the red Congo or the real Congo. We call that other one Rongo. Congo and a few number of other strains came to the people that I know through the people who went and collected with the request that they not be commercialized in any way. This was not something to take lightly, the heritage of this strain and these seeds. But it did, of course. People take stuff and agree to the conditions and then take the quickest off. But I'm thrilled to be close to it too. It's one of my favorites. We also got to smoke some Angolan on the weekend or whenever that was. That's another strain that is right up there with the Congo. And it's unfortunate that prohibition also has caused the idea of growing indicas over sativas because of the limits of our space, mostly, and the length of time that it would take for it to come to fruition. So the preference was then given over to a faster maturing, heavier weight indica. And that at an inflated price, that was a top price for cannabis, was the best indica. So if you wanted sativa, you would then pay even more. So, yep, Durban poison, somebody mentioned. Like that one too. That's always been a very nice strain to smoke. Not a complete pure indica or pure sativa. I guess probably is now, but that was from a strain brought from India in the mid 1800s, I think. And that was crossed with the local sativa strain in Durban, and it's called Durban poison. Probably one of the oldest hybrids there is. And it's been growing locally since then. So it's now kind of taken over from the original, but they're all still probably there. And someday we'll hunt them all down, get them all grown, and let everybody smoke them. This nonsense about it becoming stronger and blah, 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 all the better things, the stuff about it totally eliminates the sativa side of things. Now, I don't know if there's no difference between indica and sativa trichomes. I don't care. They sure smoke different, each and every one of them. So something's going on. Indica, sativa. So whatever that is, I prefer to have it in the mix. Now, what? The legal market doesn't want to get close. And even in the prohibition illegal market, the names have become something, right? The names have become prominent in telling me what it is. Now, the providers of the names know this, So there's no reason for them to not just adopt a name or their buddy adopted a name and told them it was this. The name is worth money. So whether or not that's actually true. So with the name, I go, yeah, this is a sativa. And the calculation of sativa in the mix is impossible to prove. There's no way that you can prove to me that it's 70-30 indica sativa. How the fuck are you going to do that? So why bother saying it is if you can't prove it? No, there's still, like, technically, there's no way to prove the existence of the indica sativa. So I don't know how that all works. They do it a lot by the genealogy of the hybrid that they're talking about. They use sativas very generously to any existence of a sativa puts a great deal of it into the percentage, even though you're looking at a rock hard bud. What the fuck is that? That to me is the main difference right there. It doesn't even look like a sativa. So you can't be dressing it up. We never fell for the idea that Volkswagens were actually Rolls Royce just because they had the hood on. But so my point, if there is one or ever is one, would be that the just calling it a sativa is, became necessary, not necessary, but preferential because they weren't producing real sativas. And anything close then became a sativa. So, so stuff that's out there that is sold as sativas, they aren't really. They're mostly indica hybrids, all of them, because that is what's desired in the growing process. So, it's the bang for the buck that everybody wants and still wants and have pursued. That's what they're going to look for. So it'll be some time before anyone seems to care about the consumer. They never talk about the consumer at all, ever. So that's the unfortunate part of legalization so far. They only talk about the convenience, how convenient it is to just go around the corner to your legal shop and buy a weed. Very convenient, and I get that for most people, or a lot of people. Yeah, I'll pay the extra premium because of the convenience, which is nothing. You don't do that anywhere else. Well, I'll pay more for the smokes because it's convenient. Well, I guess some things you do, but at any rate, that's how they're being at all successful, I would say. It's through the convenience of it because they don't talk about the quality ever. Funny, I guess it's some sort of restrictions don't allow them to do that, but they don't ever. Nobody, everybody that I know that's gotten into that industry and promote themselves relentlessly don't ever talk about the quality. So interesting. They're scrambling with all sorts of stupid rules and regulations trying to get half decent pot to the marketplace in the first place. But it's the same old shit, right? They don't want us to have cannabis. Health Canada is right now doing some call out to the public to answer questions and bring forth changes they would like to see. Now, I don't know. I don't trust Health Canada to do fucking anything. They've already got a plan. They know what they're going to do. They're just going to do that. No matter what you say, no matter what anyone says, they have a plan. They're not going to let Canadians decide. And of course, I participated in their first one that they did and got none of the things that I suggested we should have and how it should go. Got none of them. So I don't even like to tell them what I want. That way they can't figure out how to block it. That's what people want. So let's figure out a way not to give that to them. No, it's a scam, the whole fucking thing. They've been using it this way for forever, my whole life. They've used prohibition to be dishonest, blatantly be dishonest without ever being questioned on their statements about this substance. Even on this Health Canada questionnaire, it's not even a questionnaire, it's just questions that I guess you're supposed to fucking fill out and mail to them or something. I don't know. It's not a box you check off. Right? So, no matter what you say to these clowns, they've got an agenda. They had one then to legalize it exactly the way they legalized it. They had that plan. They didn't give a fuck what anybody said. They just would pluck out those that agreed with that position and use those. You know, well, what's the point of me being questioned? So, one of the opening lines in their little questionnaire or whatever it is was that Health Canada has legalized marijuana or cannabis from a health perspective. They made very clear that this is where this is going from a health perspective. And it's disappointing in a way that cannabis doesn't hurt you, has no serious side effects. So no matter what they do to suggest that they're being protected from one danger or another will never come true. So they win by saying, see, the measures that we took. But they're seeing it from a health perspective, and that it somehow would infer it's not healthy, that there's some concern right away because it's a health issue. So that's fucked up. So it's slanted right there into their point of view, and always will be their point of view, because that's the only thing that holds it all together is that point of view. That cannabis somehow is fucking dangerous. I need to roll a joint. And that's a shame too, that they have taken this position. So, in reality, they never want to hurt. They never want to hear from us, people who know and like cannabis and know that it's not very dangerous or at all. So they don't want to hear from us. We don't fit into their fucking mold still. Even as cannabis consumers. And I don't see anybody writing about any of this shit. It doesn't come up. It's not part of the equation. Those of us who essentially you would think cannabis is legalized for would be the people who wanted it. Who else? Who else is going to buy your fucking weed? But the people who want to buy the weed. But still, the government has to treat us as second-class citizens, or I don't know how that works, but they need to overlord us. And if you want cannabis, you're going to pay for it, and you're going to pay a tax, and you will be punished by paying a tax. Right? Continue just the way it always has been. And you don't play along. So Health Canada, all they're trying to do now is trying to prop up their position that for all the needs of all this stuff. Well, we must have. Now they're talking about, I think, plain packaging. They do it with cigarettes here. Plain packaging. And it's just stupid. But I believe that they changed the packaging for cigarettes here in Canada to allow them to do the same thing with cannabis. Because we would instantly go, you don't even do that with cigarettes, let alone, why would you do it with cannabis? So They changed the law not too long ago about that. Huh. And that would be fucked, wouldn't it? If the government somehow would infer again that cannabis is somehow less dangerous, or they desire to present it this way, so they would go so far. It takes nothing to change the tobacco laws. It's one of the few things they do, the government. Oh, we'll increase the tobacco tax. Huh? And they've done that our entire lives, and no one said boo, because you can't, right? What can you say about smoking cigarettes? It's good for you? No. So that went along and went along and went along. So that's all they ever do, change laws around tobacco. Because that lets them off the hook then. They don't have to do anything else. It would seem they certainly don't do anything else around obvious stuff. But cannabis becomes this stupid fucking thing that allows them to pretend that they're doing something. They are really concerned about your health. Don't look over there. Look here. Talking about cannabis, how dangerous that is. How many rules we need around it. But they fucked it all up. They just ruined cannabis for the consumer. Made it convenient. Started to become convenient. But yeah, as cannabis increasingly becomes more and more legal around the world, it's going to be tougher and tougher to keep that out. No, I saw some posting that suggested that 1 in 7 cannabis consumers grows their own pot. 1 in 7. I don't think so. I don't think so. But at any rate, most people don't want to grow weed. Come on, it's a lot of work. It takes a fair amount of setup and gear to get going, and then to be successful, it takes practice. But people have grown cannabis much more because it was illegal, because they wanted to. But they became good at it and stayed with it because it's a good thing and fun thing and profitable thing to do. So yeah, I don't know. They totally ignore the fact that prohibition has had any effect on this whatsoever. See, the problem is the price. That was forced in an underground market to become a certain amount. So they don't want to let us have cannabis in the first place. It's a health issue, you know. It's not a plant that we consume that doesn't hurt us. It's not that. It's a health issue. Oh, wait a second. How do you get to decide that it's a health issue just out of the fucking blue like that? Well, they do it by ignoring cannabis. We have a tremendous refusal to actually look at this plant, except from a microscopic fucking point of view. We have found terpenes. We've named these terpenes, and they are there. We say they're there. And it means something because we found them. They're always there. So what? I don't care why my grape tastes like a fucking grape. Do you? My pizza fucking tastes like pizza? Well, we just don't. It's a ludicrous that, oh, I must have these terpenes in my cannabis. Even though we're like this far away from fucking prohibition, if in fact we're not completely doing it the way we did it then. We didn't know anything about it. We didn't care. Now we must know what terpenes are in this marijuana. And it's got to be a hybrid. They call them hybrid. I must have a hybrid. You go, yeah. Given the way we've discussed marijuana all of these years, we've always called hybrid a hybridization between the indica and the sativa, as opposed to a hybrid being something in the middle, is what they're talking about. What? 50% sativa, 50% indica. You go, well, like, really? The fuck would you ever know that? It's a rock hard bud. Look at it. Looks like an indica. Probably gonna smoke like an indica because they smoke a certain way because of the way they are. So I think you get a more sedate effect from an indica because you're consuming trichomes that have not been hit by the sun all that long and have ceased producing cannabinoids, quite probably, and potentially are they themselves degrading to other things. Because I don't know, a calyx grows on the plant, in which would be a seed if you allowed it to be fertilized, but covered with trichomes to protect that seed pod, if you will. And then another one grows on top of it and blocks out the sun. These plants aren't fucking, they don't do shit that they don't need to, right? Bugs aren't going to get to you now. Sun's not getting to you now to damage the seed. So the protection lies on the outer layers of the stacked hard bud. So interesting. I think as you crush a indica bud, you get very few of the outside trichomes that have been in the sun the longest, quite probably. And as you grind up the rest, you've watered it down in a way. Or you'd have ended up with that kind of a potential, I guess. But I think in the sativa, when I crush up a bud, same amount of weed, I'm getting way more trichomes that have been cranked in the sun a lot longer. Just because they were open bud structure more that the light is allowed to penetrate. So per square inch, I'm getting more of those, and this is why I'm getting higher. The effect that I'm getting is more invigorating. So people are very specific in what their desires are to have from cannabis. It must do this, it must do that, it must inspire me. I'm going to paint, I'm going to read. What should I smoke? You go, well, how the fuck should I know? I smoke it all the time. So my tolerance level is a little different, I suppose. And to me, it doesn't affect me that much. Even though I consume a lot of it, it's still, I don't know, it's not that strong. Come on. We have to play around in the realm of, oh, it's so fucking strong. Oh, I get so baked. Oh, blah, 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 blah. But it's just fucking cannabis. I'm going to do the same today to no ill effect. So, but we were faced with prohibition and we're kind of bored with it, weren't we? Then you come up with stuff to do. Okay, there's all this weed around now, and we got to figure out which is the best. So there's been this pursuit of that this is the best. And at any given time, it would range. Well, they would have categories always: indica, sativa. So, much of this talk of them being the same indicas and sativas at trichome level is certainly designed to not want to grow sativas. So there's much room for improvement, or in my mind, dismantling, defunding. Defund cannabis legalization. I made a meme. The fuck does meme mean? Where does this word come from? Is there a long form that we've shortened? Or to be a meme that everybody on the fucking planet knows the name of? Oh, it's a meme. Here's something interesting too. Got some weed in a can. It's an interesting phenomenon that's taken place. It was all sealed up with a peel back lid. The cats all thought it was cat food being open. And so what? It's called tuna fish, I guess is the name. And what was inside this was sea breeze sativa, which is funny on a number of levels. When we first came upon weed inside tuna cans, you couldn't peel the lid off. You had to get a can opener. So we all went and got can openers. And the weed inside of it apparently was a lemon hash brown. That's what this weed was and what it became known over the years as tuna kush. So, so much so that you then came upon crosses out in the world of tuna kush crossed with something else. So I don't know what happened there, whether or not the lemon hash plant was used as any of this and just called tuna kush, or tuna kush became something else. No longer in tuna cans. So now this is called tuna fish. Interesting. Harkening back to the not bad weed. A little bit of sativa, I guess. I don't know. It's pretty subtle. You gotta figure, what the fuck? Every toke I take increases my heart rate. So wouldn't I be invigorated by any strain then? I think the difference is just for how long. The indica sativa ratio is longer. Sativas that get you feeling like that, increase your heart rate, and just that alone is enough, but for a longer time. That's my theory. But we all have theories. Well, good to see the chat moving along on screen too. So I don't know what this year's just about over, apparently. According to a calendar that we made up. The end of the year. But Yeah, it will be the same on Friday as it was the day before. But we continue in the moil of the pandemic. Yeah, I don't know. People are putting up with this too much longer. I don't think. So they'll do the minimum of effort to get by and get out, do stuff. I don't know. In this neighborhood, it was like business as normal and more. It was really busy out there at all times. You know, most people in masks. You go, okay, well, there you go. They're all gonna come out. So restaurants continue to serve and seat out here. And you can always get food to go. That's what most people are doing. So it will refine itself as we go. But I watch these guys. You never know what they're up to. They're up to no good at every turn. Anytime they can. So what, that finance minister in Ontario, he got caught. Well, he went out of the country down to the Caribbean, which I don't know. Is it against the rules to go to the Caribbean right now? I don't know if it is. But there's hue and cry about him spiriting off to the Caribbean for 3 weeks while everybody else is told to stay at home. Yeah, what the fuck? How do you get to do that? What access do you have? Oh, it was a planned event, planned vacation was his event. You go, well, so is my life been planned? What about that? No, I'm told to stay home. So, interestingly enough, that is say, but nothing will come of that. Of course, he will face no consequence whatsoever for that mistake that he made. So, yeah, you got to be held to the higher standard. Forced to be held and nailed, nailed up to the higher standard. No, they should be setting a fine example. What they should be doing and making correct and wise decisions on all of our behalves. We wish, don't we? So yeah, what the fuck? Doesn't matter too much. New Year's Eve, what the fucking difference does it make? Really, doesn't matter what you do. It's what you're doing. But we will hope for much better stuff going on in the world. So what can you do? We've always hoped for that. But many people use New Year's as a turning point in their lives and stuff they do. And go from there. Well, we should smoke one more joint anyway. Can we get that chat back up there? See, when you join the chat just out of the blue like that makes no sense whatsoever. You know, what the fuck are they talking about? No, they keep blaming us too. Whatever's going on out there health wise, they're still inferring in a way it's up to us to stop it. So I don't know. As I've always said, I don't know. And quite frankly, neither do you. I have no idea what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's false when it comes to any of it. Much doesn't add up. But I don't know what we're tracking. We keep tracking fucking coronavirus, but if we never tracked before, I have no frame of reference to know comparatively what this fucking means here in reality compared to any other time in history. What are you counting? So you're telling me how many deaths there are, and yeah, not telling me necessarily where those deaths are or who is, you know, it's fucking. So it's affecting a small percentage of the population. For something that is 99% and greater chance that you're going to get it. I see those numbers too. But they constantly are referring to how the outbreak, more outbreak. Well, you've never tested for fucking anything before. So yeah, you're gonna have numbers, but what do those numbers compare to? Nothing yet. They don't bother with that. I read a thing where they suggested that because the numbers are down over the last amount of time, is because we're not doing as much testing. So if you stop testing altogether, you would end up, well, there's no cases. Grr. But they've whipped us into a frenzy of health. My health issue. Health is really important, and can be whatever you want it to be, right? And it's worth a lot of money in the long run. So the stakeholders are chomping at the bit. But it can't go on forever. It makes no sense to me to starve the population or extricate people or make people poor. What the fuck? I don't get that part of it at all. Makes no sense. It's not the way that this is an economic world based on us consuming shit. You cannot stop that and succeed in any way. So it could be just these bumbling fucking politicians figuring out ways to take advantage of stuff and then going with that point of view. So it's funny though that politicians, they obviously have to be aware of the people's distaste of lockdowns and shutdowns and all these other downs that they're bringing. They must be aware of that. So you'd think, that they'd have the odd meeting and go, people don't like this. Is there anything that we can do? And you go, well, no. We don't want to talk about that. We're doing it this way. We decided to do it this way. Kind of the way that goes. So yeah, all decided ahead of time, and maybe they're just idiots. But at any rate, I do hope you all have happy days ahead, and that this too will end. Fuck the calendar. And I do appreciate you tuning in. All these years, if you have. It's been a while. So yeah, I appreciate you all supporting us here at Pod TV and keeping the culture alive, if you will. And do tune into all those other shows all week long. And thanks to Anil for being here and keeping it all on the up and up, on the uploading and uploading. And so until we see you next time, have a safe, healthy, happy New Year. Peace. Bye.
All right, welcome to the THC show with Neil, where we talk about the unpleasant truths of our system and our democracy here.
I help patients. I got
I know what you're saying.
I got rated for growing. and I'm staring at the cracks in the wall doing time, and I'm trying to figure out who I hurt. No victim, no crime.
And we look for avenues of hope and ways that we can change some things. As you can see, there's a lot of people and there's a lot of care packs that we're handing out there. I am not a criminal.
Wow, look at this.
Right,
Hey,
yeah.
it's 420 for sure now. Got you.
And I'll be back next Tuesday for another episode of THC, Truth, Hope, and Change. Go about changing the world as best you can, and while you're doing it, just have as much fun as you can. Thank you.
Hi there, welcome to the 420 Lifestyle Show. I'm Carly Marley. She's taking a dab. Thanks.
We can play the Sickamoose video.
Oh yes, Sickamoose video. Let's play the Sickamoose video.